big one.
Yeah, you're gonna say my name.
Oh, come on, you can say this. It's Latin. You're super good at this. The one thing you're good at and you don't want to do
saying
it.
the foreign
Fucking
names.
useless.
Hi, I'm Felicia.
And I'm Giancarlo.
And this is our review of
Mare Nostrum Empires and the expansion.
Atlantis. Under the sea.
Beep, beep.
One of Giancarlo's big fans got operated yesterday. So we're gonna say hi to Sil.
Hi, Sil.
You gave her an autograph.
Oh, okay, sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to
And
sound so confused.
and in her,
What's
like...
she going through?
Oh, she had a big cyst on her tailbone.
shit.
Just
Wow.
all of the... But it was funny because she knew
well
I was
and-
filming this morning, and like in her anesthesia, she's like, "Can you and Giancarlo say hi to me?" It's like, oh my god.
Hi, Sil.
If I can make
well.
all your dreams come true.
Recover well. In Mare Nostrums, players will take on the role of one of the 5 ancient civilizations around the Mediterranean. They'll war, trade, construct, and lead to become the top civilization. With the boards in the middle, this is the setup for 5 players, with the smaller board, flush with this edge, will be for 4, and with both boards as such, it'll be for 3. For this review, we'll use this setup. The 3 factions used must be Rome, Greece, and Carthage. Each player will take a reference sheet, their shield, empire mat, miniatures, control markers, and leader track markers. They'll also take their starting leaders and place all other non-starting leaders and wonders on the track with the first 5 face up, and the pyramid 1 face up at the end. For advanced gameplay, all these can be face up instead. Separate all the coins and resource tokens with the legendary ones shuffled and placed face down in a pile. Following the instructions on the back of the shield, each player will place all materials as shown on all the boards, and collect the 9 resources depicted here from the arranged pool. You're now ready to play. Now before we talk about how a round is played, let's discuss the 4 possible victory conditions. A player wins if he controls at least 4 capitals and or legendary cities, if they build the pyramid, if they built their 5th hero, they win as denoted by the victory wreath here, or if they are the leader in all of the 3 aspects of the leaderboard, trade, culture, and military, by the end of the claim leadership phase.
Each round contains 5 phases as shown on the top of the reference sheet. First players will collect resources, which for the first turn is skipped. In later turn, however, to do this, simply take the resource next to a caravan you have in play in every province you control. Having a market there will double the caravan's income. Cities work the same for coins, and temples will double those. Legendary cities will award you a coin and a random resource drawn from the pile. Should an enemy legion be on a token, that player will receive the goods instead of the controlled marked player. We'll talk about that, which is called occupying, a little later. All players collect resources simultaneously.
The second phase is trade resources. The trade leader, denoted by the leader token in the first column at the top, will take the 3 exchange markers that are double-sided. He'll determine how many resources are traded this round and place the marker here on the board. For the next round, he'll have to use another exchange marker until all are used. If a new trade leader is determined, he'll take all the exchange markers back. When the number of goods exchanged is determined, from 0 to 5, each player will place that many resources and or coins on their empire mat face down. When all have done so, you'll flip them. The trade leader will take a resource from another player and place it face down. It can't be taken. The player who got his resource taken then does the same, and so on until all resources are taken. Small rule is no 2 players can exchange more than twice in a row between themselves. The strategy here is to take resources that are different, as they'll be more useful in the coming phase, building.
Here, the cultural leader will determine which player builds first. The reason for making others go first is to see if they'll build militarily or not. On the flip side, he'll also might want to build first, as he'd want first dib at a revealed hero or wonder. Costs are actually listed on your empire mat. So, to build your second hero, you'll require 7 different resources, excluding coins or 7 coins. Build your 5th and you'll win. Some besides special effects will also give you bonuses on each track according to the number of icons they have there. So keep this in mind. Other things you can build are listed on the reference sheet. For 3 different resources or 3 coins, you may build a caravan, fortress, legion, trireme in a province you control. or a control marker in an adjacent or adjoining province, which means separated by sea but has a direct line through your triremes. For 6 different resources or 6 coins, you can build either a temple or market, which will double your city or caravan revenue. Note that Hannibal's ability allows the Carthaginians players to use 2 of the same resource per set when building. At the end of their build phase, the players must discard all resources not used, but are allowed to bank a maximum of 2 coins. When done, the culture leader chooses another player to build until all have done so, which then brings us to the 4th phase, move and battle.
In this phase, the military leader will decide which player will act first. They may decide to attack and or move, but must first move and battle triremes and then move and battle legions. The triremes can move 1 space in an adjacent sea space. When in a space containing an opponent's trireme, you may choose to battle or not. It is not mandatory. If you do choose to battle, simply roll a blue die for each of your trireme and divide the result by 5 rounded down. The opponent will do the same. Each hit will have the opponent remove a trireme. Remember to lower your military track accordingly to units lost. Legions will then move. They may move to an adjacent space or adjoining one. This simply means from coastal space that is connected by their triremes to another coastal space, as if the triremes were a bridge. Legions, however, must attack when in a space containing enemy units, either legion or fortress. Here, players will roll the beige dice according to the number of legions they have. Again, divide by 5 and the opponents must lose that many units of their choice. Fortresses will add 5 to the total and negate a hit from the opponents. Note that Caesar of Rome adds +1 to all legion battle die roll on his active turn, and Pericles of Greece adds +2 per legion die when not on his active turn. Again, adjust your military track according to units lost. If both players remain, the province is considered to be at war. The controlling player cannot build units or buildings there. If the attacker wiped out all the units, this is called a conquest, and 3 choices are available to him. He may pillage 1 building and immediately get the associated resources. He may occupy several buildings by placing his legions on top of it. This will give him resources of occupied building during the first phase, collect resources. And in either case, the culture track will change for the occupying player by removing it from the conquered player. Or, as a last choice, he can occupy the control marker. If the legion is still there at the beginning of his next move and battle phase, he'll replace that marker with his own. Again, change the culture leader track accordingly. Then the military leader decides which player goes next until all have activated this phase. Then we move on to the last phase, claim leadership.
When claiming leadership, simply put the token here of the faction highest on each track. Should a player be leader on all tracks at the end of this phase, he wins. If not, a new round begins until a winning condition happens. Besides claiming leadership, a player may win by completing the pyramids, completing his 5th hero, or controlling 4 capitals and or legendary cities in total. Before we move on to the final thoughts, let's talk a little bit about the Atlas expansion. This provides an extra map for a 6th player placed on the left side of the boards, with 2 extra factions, the Athenians for the 6th player and the Barbarians to be used for a 2-player game expansion. Basically, in a 2-player game between Rome and Carthage, the Barbarians act as an AI player. New heroes are added as well with extra resources, and of course, Empire map of the Atlanteans. Lastly, there is also Troya objective tiles, which are to be used in the Troya expansion by replacing some heroes in the base set, with the ones in Atlas. Giancarlo has final thoughts.
I gotta say, Academy Games has proven time and time again that they are definitely one of my favorite game publishers out there. And obviously that is no exception with Mare Nostrum. And what Academy Games does so well is details. The simple genius way of different player setup using the boards is phenomenal. So scaling in this game is fantastic as well. Now we tried to get as many details rules as possible, but we couldn't all fit them in this video. That said, the game, though packed with tactics and strategy, is actually very, very intuitive and plays very smoothly. Obviously, players' interaction in this game is through the roof, but this actually brings us to our first con as well, and that it is quite ironically that this game has a bottlenecking problem. No matter in how many games we played or how many number of players we played, inevitably, the other players always ganged up on the leader of that current round. This created the reoccurring scenario to allow all other factions to climb up equally, and then it was anybody's game. Which, again, quite interestingly, does give the game a pro point in that aspect: no leader steamrolling, keeping players invested at all time as well. Though this did tend to prolong the game at times longer than it should have. But this game being so fun, that only garners a half-point penalty. And of course, as Academy Games always make sure that quality is a huge part of production, the artwork and components meet this criteria. Might definitely could have done with better player shield, which we used only for setup, but a very minor detail. A perfect blend of history and mythology in a perfect blend of a war game and a board game, Mare Nostrum certainly does not disappoint. And with different playstyles from each faction, every game is differently approached for a huge plus on replay value. From us, it gets a well-deserved 8.5 out of 10.
My friends all crush on you. I pick up girls that way. I swear to God. I'm like, I know Giancarlo, who's that radioactive George, and they're like, oh my God, and I'm in. But I'm sure when you use it, it kind of it's the flop.
I never use it. I never like, hi, I'm an actor.
Hi, I'm an
Chink,
actor.
like a
Midol for men. You need to get that man pawn and insert it properly.
That's sexist.
And like,
I'm just gonna throw that shit around now. Like everybody else. Sexism, racism. You okay there?
Yeah.
You got some coke?
Imagine.
We'll be doing a better job, I think.
What is wrong? Are you? I think he just needs a hug.
I do.
Poor Giancarlo.
I'm becoming bitter.
You're
I'm
like
a bitter old man.